You've been meaning to start that project for weeks now. The one that actually matters to you. The one you think about before falling asleep and during your lunch break. But when you sit down to begin, something in your brain just refuses to move. This isn't about the things you don't care about. This is about the work that excites you, the creative project that feels personal, the skill you genuinely want to learn, and yet your brain treats it like a threat. Most people assume this resistance comes from laziness or lack of discipline. They think if they cared enough, they'd just start. But that explanation misses something critical about how your brain actually operates when faced with things that matter. The resistance you feel isn't a character flaw. It's a specific neurological response that gets stronger the more you care about the outcome. Your brain isn't confused about what's important. It knows exactly what's important. That's precisely why it's resisting. When you think about starting something meaningful, your brain runs a quick background assessment. It measures the gap between where you are now and where you want to be. For tasks you don't care about, that gap doesn't register as significant. You can start a mundane work email without hesitation because the stakes feel low. But when you care deeply about something, that gap becomes a chasm. Your brain sees the distance between your current skill level and your vision. It registers all the uncertainty, all the potential for disappointment, all the ways this could reveal your limitations, and it interprets this as danger. Research on task initiation shows that the brain's threat detection system doesn't distinguish well between physical danger and psychological exposure. When you're about to start something that matters, the same neural circuits activate as when you're facing a genuine risk. Your amygdala flags the situation. Your prefrontal cortex, which handles executive function, starts running interference. This is why you can scroll through your phone for 20 minutes but can't open the document. Scrolling doesn't threaten your self-concept. Starting the thing you care about does. Think about the last time you finally sat down to begin that project. Notice what happened in the 10 minutes before. You probably reorganized your desk, checked your email again, convinced yourself you needed water, or suddenly remembered an urgent but unimportant task. Your brain was generating escape routes. These aren't random distractions. They're your nervous system trying to regulate what it perceives as mounting threat. Each small task you complete gives you a tiny hit of accomplishment without the risk of facing your actual goal. Your brain prefers this safe zone of minor completions over the vulnerable act of beginning something uncertain. The uncomfortable truth is that your resistance intensifies in direct proportion to how much the outcome matters to you. If you didn't care whether your novel was good, you'd write it easily. If you didn't care whether people respected your business idea, you'd launch it without hesitation. The caring is what creates the friction. This is why people often feel most blocked around their deepest aspirations. The guitarist who dreams of writing original music keeps practicing scales. The person with a genuine business concept keeps researching instead of building. The writer with something real to say keeps planning instead of drafting. They're all stuck at the same neural checkpoint. Your brain is particularly sensitive to what researchers call ego-relevant tasks. These are activities where your performance feels connected to your identity or worth. When you're about to do something that could answer the question of whether you're actually capable, your threat detection system activates preemptively. It's trying to protect you from finding out something you don't want to know. Not in a conscious, articulated way, but in the primitive way your nervous system protects you from touching hot surfaces. The potential emotional pain of disappointing yourself registers as something to avoid. Notice what happens when you tell yourself you'll start tomorrow instead. There's immediate relief. Your nervous system interprets delay as successful threat avoidance. You've escaped the dangerous moment without having to confront the gap between your vision and your current ability. The relief feels like proof you made the right choice. But this creates a cycle where delay becomes its own behavior pattern. Each time you postpone starting, you reinforce the neural pathway that codes this task as threatening. Your brain learns that this particular project equals discomfort, which makes the next attempt even harder. The resistance compounds. This is different from procrastinating on your taxes or avoiding a dentist appointment. Those delays come from wanting to avoid an unpleasant experience. This resistance comes from wanting to avoid discovering something about yourself. The task itself might even be enjoyable. What's threatening is what completing it might reveal about your capabilities or limitations. Office workers often notice this pattern most clearly around career transitions. Someone spends years thinking about leaving their job to pursue something more meaningful. They research, they plan, they talk about it. But when it's time to actually update their resume or reach out to contacts, they freeze. Not because they like their current job, but because taking action would test whether their vision of themselves is accurate. Students experience this with personal projects outside their coursework. The assigned essay gets finished, even if it started the night before. But the passion project, the one they actually want to create, sits untouched. The assigned work can't really tell them anything about who they are. The personal project can. This same mechanism explains why people sometimes find it easier to help others than to work on their own goals. Helping someone else's project carries less identity risk. If it doesn't work out, it wasn't really yours, but your own work is different. Its success or failure feels like a direct measurement of you. The resistance also intensifies when you've already invested significant mental energy in the idea. You've imagined it working out. You've pictured the finished version. You've maybe even told people about it. Now there's additional pressure because starting badly might contradict the image you've built. Your brain would rather preserve the pleasant fantasy than risk the messy reality. This doesn't mean you're afraid of success or that you're self-sabotaging in some deeper psychological way. It means your brain is doing exactly what it evolved to do, trying to keep you safe from experiences it codes as potentially harmful. It just hasn't updated its threat detection system for the modern world, where the most meaningful experiences often require tolerating psychological discomfort. Understanding this doesn't make the resistance disappear. Your amygdala doesn't care that you've read about how it works. But it does remove one layer of the problem, the layer where you blame yourself for not being motivated enough or disciplined enough. The resistance isn't evidence of a personal failing. It's evidence that what you're trying to start actually matters to you. People who seem to start things effortlessly aren't experiencing less resistance. They've either found ways to work alongside it, or they're working on things that don't trigger the same identity level stakes. Sometimes they're just in a different phase of the cycle, or they've structured their approach differently. But they're not fundamentally different from you. The brain's threat response to meaningful tasks is a feature of being human, not a bug in your particular operating system. It shows up in different intensities for different people and different projects, but the basic mechanism is universal. You're not uniquely broken. You're having a completely standard neurological experience that rarely gets discussed honestly. This is why the common advice to just start often fails. It's not addressing the actual problem. Your brain isn't confused about what to do. It's actively preventing you from doing it because doing it feels dangerous. Telling yourself to just push through ignores the fact that your nervous system has already decided this is a situation requiring protection. The resistance you feel before starting something you care about is your brain trying to keep you safe from the vulnerability of trying and possibly failing at something that matters. It's uncomfortable to sit with that truth, but it's also clarifying. The feeling isn't random, and it isn't optional. It's the price of caring about something enough that the outcome could actually affect how you see yourself.